Hi, welcome to Psi Curious. Since this is our first episode, we are going to do a quick but deep dive into what we mean by Psi and what we mean by Psi Curious. We are asking the term Psi to do a lot of heavy lifting. We are using it as an umbrella term for all kinds of psychic phenomenon. So everything from channeling and mediumship and premonition to near-death experience, reincarnation, seeing spirits, seeing orbs, Reiki, ghost stories, of course, angel work. I mean, this is a very stretchy umbrella. The umbrella can take it. We're just going to keep stuffing things in there. No doubt there will be an ever increasing amount of topics that we're going to cover. But right now, when we use psi, we mean all kinds of psychic phenomena. And when we say Psi Curious, we're talking about the really cool stories that are related to that. Real people, everyday people telling their stories about the out there woo woo things that have happened to them that don't really fit comfortably into our 3D five senses here and now world. Um, and I mean regular people, not people who were born with psychic skills, not people who've studied to be energy masters for decades, like just regular people. And I think the most important thing we're doing here is creating a platform to have the conversation because these things happen everywhere all the time. But particularly in our Western cultures, we're deeply discouraged from discussing this. And so these things that are happening everywhere all the time, people think they're in isolation, that it's only happening to them because nobody talks about it. So we've got this little cycle that we're gonna break. We're throwing the wrench into that gear. And we're gonna create a safe space to have the conversation about this. We're gonna tell the stories that are happening all over the place from really interesting people who are just normal, but this stuff has happened to them. So we also want to address the fact that people don't talk about it because they expect to hear you're crazy or you made that up, you imagined that, you were dreaming, you were sleeping, or you need to have your head checked. I mean, there's a lot of pejorative response when we say this weird thing happened to me. So we're going to create a safe place to have the discussion because no one should be doubting their mental wellness or their sanity from something that is this commonplace, that's something that happens all the time. So we're going to discuss it like the commonplace thing it is. We're going to make it safe for people to come here and tell their stories and ask questions. And if you're a skeptic, by the way, whether or not you've had an experience like this, please stick around because we're also talking about the convergence of science and psi phenomenon. And it's just quantum physics in particular has just really given us a platform to have the discussion about how these two things are running in parallel and finally converging. It's great that science has finally caught up with spiritual teachings that are thousands of years old. But really, this is a place where we can have these discussions about the things that we have in common. And I'm Psi Curious. If something has happened to you that doesn't really fit well into our 3D world, but you know it happened, you know it's real, drop us a line. I would love to hear about it. I I'm really excited you're here and I'm really looking forward to sharing our stories with you. Thanks for joining us.